California, where a new study tells us that the predicted has transpired, and the Gavin Newsom-promoted wage mandates of $20 per hour forced onto most fast food restaurant chains has, in a single year, killed 16,000 low-skilled jobs and prevented countless more from being created, even as it restricted options and savings for consumers. Danielle Shoki reports for the Tampa Free Press, quote, "Brand new quarterly data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, analyzed by the Employment Policies Institute, EPI, has laid bare a grim reality for California's fast food industry. The state has shed up to 16,000 jobs since Governor Newsom signed the $20 fast food minimum wage law, AB 1228, in September of 2023. End quote. This state-forced increase in expenses for the same kind of labor shot business and consumer prices up 25%. And while some chains shut doors, others culled their workforce, cut hours, or switched to what previously had been too expensive an alternative: electronic kiosks. For example, in June of last year, Fox Business reported on the Mexican food chain called Rubio's Coastal Grill, which shut 48, that's a third, of its California locations as a result of the Newsom-pushed mandate. That's a lot of teenagers Newsom and his pals robbed of their entry-level jobs. A lot of low-skilled workers who might not have numerous alternatives, save welfarist government redistribution of wealth, or perhaps engaging in criminal activity. But hey, at least California government made shoplifting of up to $950 worth of items. They turned it into a misdemeanor, meaning most culprits will be free to do it again, unless the state proves they're part of a large gang engaged in that kind of widespread plot to steal. And Rubio's Coastal Grill is just one of the real-world examples of this predicted outcome. The impact of this political intervention has been so damaging and so widespread, people have started tracking the number of restaurant closures, which surpassed the 1,000 mark by September of last year. Is it any wonder that a recent survey showed that the majority of Californians believe the state and its policies are headed in the wrong direction? Is it any wonder that reporters such as Michael Schellenberger on X recently reminded Gavin Newsom that the California crime rate has risen to 31% higher than the national average? Notes Shoki, quote, "The numbers dovetail with a Berkeley Research Group study showing menu prices soaring 14.5% since the wage hike, nearly double the national average. An EPI survey of fast food operators post-implementation paints an even bleaker picture. 98% raised prices, 89% cut employee hours, 73% curbed overtime or shift pickups, and 70% reduced staff or merged roles." End quote. And if the mandate is not removed, more people will lose their jobs, fewer people will be hired, more business owners will lock in the kiosk technology that previously they wouldn't have used because it was too expensive, and customers will have to spend more. Quote, "Looking to 2025, the pain persists. 93% of surveyed restaurants plan further price hikes. 87% expect more hour reductions. 74% anticipate additional layoffs, and 71% will limit overtime. Critics argue AB 1228, touted as a lifeline for low-wage workers, has backfired spectacularly." End quote. Yes, it has. And one need not be an instructor in the field of economics to know this would happen. The essential moral precept of free association is crushed by government mandates, and a government mandate on wages prevents buyers and sellers from expressing their interests and needs. Workers sell their efforts and skills, while employers sell the workers the opportunities and the investments they've made to start the business and acquire the materials needed for the jobs. And of course, consumers hire them all, and they would like to have some cash left over to use on something new, helping employ others in new jobs. Of course, Newsom and his Marxist allies parroted the tired old rhetoric of helping the little guy when they pushed their attack on private enterprise and the freedom of peaceful people to engage in voluntary contract. One might wonder how attacking people can be portrayed as helping them, especially when government only can function by taking tax money, even to write and pass these kinds of statutes. Befitting their Marxist roots, Shoki notes that the politicians applied their wage mandates on the so-called large national chains with 60 or more national locations that also are doing business in California. But the big bully is not the employer. And again, the final employer is actually the consumer, who reduces his or her demand when the price of a product is forced up by state diktat. Shoki offers us evidence that Gavin Newsom either doesn't understand this truism or he doesn't care. Quote, Newsom's office has pushed back, citing earlier claims of job growth in the sector. But the latest BLS figures, unadjusted and seasonally adjusted alike, show a stark reversal, with California's fast food employment plunging 2.8% from September 2023 to September 2024 against a national dip of just 0.52%. The state's losses dwarf private sector trends, marking the worst non-recession year for the industry this century. End quote. It's a shame that politicians such as Gavin Newsom and his cohorts don't leave people alone. But at least they offer a lesson to the rest of us. A lesson in economic and ethical disaster. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and please share these videos far and wide, especially if you follow us at Rumble, where they don't censor us. That is fantastic. You can find MRC-TV over at YouTube as well. And of course, find MRC-TV all the time at MRCTV.org. Please check out what the team is doing. Consider donating and visiting the store. And of course, you can find us inside Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on X. And if you want to find me on Gab, you can look for me as @GardnerGoldsmith on Gab and as @GuardGoldsmith on X. Thanks for watching, everyone. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.